How much better would Jackson Arnold make Auburn in 2025?
You are Locked On Auburn, your daily podcast on the Auburn Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, welcome on into Locked On Auburn, your daily Auburn Tigers podcast. I'm your host, Zac Blackerby, and thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. Jake Crain of Crain & Company hanging out with us. We'll talk about just general portal conversations as well as, all right, how many extra wins could Auburn pick up with this 2025 schedule that's now laid out in front of us. But Jake, there was a lot of chatter about Malik Murphy and his visit earlier this week. He's gone without signing, which typically means in this transfer portal era, it's not impossible, but it's far less likely. Jackson Arnold appears to be next up on deck, and there seems to be a lot of momentum and expectation that Jackson Arnold, the former Oklahoma quarterback, could be Auburn's quarterback next season.
Yeah, if we just went 9-3, I mean, I would get it. Like, and again, I don't think Jackson Arnold's a bad player, but the time we got to get out of the ceiling business and start getting into the floor business. We need to stop talking chandeliers and start talking hardwood. You got to win on the field. That's not saying that Jackson Arnold can't. From a ability standpoint, I think he's really talented. He can run well enough to execute this RPO system. Yeah. But if this is the guy, this is a humongous gamble by Hugh Freeze, because he's not leaving Oklahoma because they did so well that Brent Venables took a job in the NFL and he doesn't want to stick around for the other guy. Like, you took a mediocre player from Michigan State who turned out to be mediocre. So I think he's more talented than Peyton Thorne is, but the result and the time frame for him to reach the potential, if he ever reaches it, if that's the guy, it has to pay off next year. Like, it has to be realized very quickly. Why don't we go get Mendoza? Is that even a possibility? I mean,
the Cal quarterback who fits this offense stylistically. He can run, he can throw well. He's got that dog in him. We saw that firsthand in Jordan Hare when they were basically playing with the lollipop guild on the offensive line. Yeah, I mean, he saw Brian Harsin come in at Cal and couldn't get away fast enough. So obviously he's smart. Yeah, I mean, sure. Look, Jackson Arnold has a ton of potential, but if you were just going to go off potential, let one of the young guys you already have play. I'm with you.
That's my thing. So I don't, and like I've said, you can only get out of the portal what the portal bears. Maybe there isn't going to be a Cam Ward in the portal every year. Just like in the NFL draft, sometimes position groups fluctuate. Sometimes there'll be better D linemen in and not a lot of quarterbacks. Sometimes there'll be a lot of DBs and not a ton of high-level receivers. So you can't just weird science a person into being the quarterback. But this would be a big gamble, man. Like, it better pay off. Like, and I know that's obvious, but I don't know. I didn't think Malik Murphy was a great fit because from a running standpoint, I don't know if he gives you enough of that element.
Sure.
Not that he can't, but I don't know, Zach. Like,
yeah, I think I like Murphy a little bit more than Arnold. They're close, but if I had to pick between the two, I would take Murphy because I think Murphy's floor is higher. Arnold's ceiling is higher. I love what you said there to the start of it is Auburn needs to get into the floor business, because I think with the ups and downs of this offense, the ceilings were great, but you're going to get kind of the peaks of this offense with any quarterback, I think, that can somewhat throw the football. It's the floors of this offense that derailed the season. And how do you raise that floor from the past two seasons to this year? And so many people say, oh, it's not the offense, it's the quarterback play. Okay, maybe. Does Jackson Arnold's floor answer all of those questions? I'm hesitant to say yes to this, Jake. I'm just going to be honest.
Well, what you're talking about is there's so much unknown.
Sure.
That's the thing. You wanted all we heard, we need a proven commodity. We need a proven commodity. Not somebody we think can be a proven commodity, but as close to a proven commodity as you possibly could get. That's, again, why I think they should be trying to go get Mendoza. He played in Jordan-Hare. He's seen how cool it is. I mean, his game fits us. His attitude fits us. To me, this is like saying, you know what? The game is on the line in basketball. We need somebody to shoot a three, and you're going to put a streaky shooter in there who hasn't been hitting them all game to take the game-winning shot, as opposed to a pretty consistent three-point shooter that has made a couple already and in big moments and in the game you're playing in. You can't miss on this, because if you miss on this, you're fired. But let's be honest. And I've been a Hugh Freeze backer this whole time. Yeah. I hope it works out. But if you bring in a quarterback that lost his job at another place and he comes into Auburn and he crashes and burns or just doesn't play well, early, it's not like you got a bunch of time to get him ready, then you are fired. So I don't know, man. Like, it is what it is, I guess, but I just didn't think that this would be, I didn't think the hand-me-downs would be the option. I thought we were going to buy some new cool stuff.
Yeah. And I mean, you can sell yourself on the ceiling, like former 5-star, this elite recruit, and you can see the athleticism and the skill, but this is, have we shown here at Auburn that we're going to get the most out of a quarterback? That to me is kind of my big question. But man, what if they do? What if they do get the most out of Jackson Arnold? I mean, that could be Hugh Freeze kind of saying, all right, here we go. But until he does it, I think it's okay to be skeptical about this decision. The other element to this, and you hinted at it, is I don't think it's the wrong move to take Jackson Arnold, but I don't think it's the best case scenario for Auburn, because I don't know if there was a true best case scenario for Hugh Freeze, because just because you get the best quarterback available in the portal doesn't mean it fixes all of your problems, because I don't think that like program changing quarterback has entered the portal.
No, and I mean, again, like that's why, bringing up you can only get from the market what the market bears is a real thing. But that doesn't mean you still don't try and go get the best guy. I'm just telling you right now. And again, this may be looked back upon if Jackson Arnold comes in here and freaks out in a good way and it turns out great. And I hope it does. I hope it does. I think that's a possibility. I just don't think it's a probability. And that we need to live in the world of probabilities, not – I don't want to go to Rainbow Land. You can't make me go to Rainbow Land. That's why, again, I look at Mendoza and I'm like, okay. Like that one to me, I think people would be like, well, he did it at Cal, right? You put Cam Coleman around him. You put some of the pieces that Auburn has around him, a defense that should be really good. I just don't know if I don't think Jackson Arnold's the best available that can run your system that's available. So obviously that's why I'm skeptical.
Mm-hmm. In 2024, 62.6% completion percentage, 1,400 yards passing, 12 touchdowns, 3 picks. He got benched, right? Like let's don't run away from that. In fact, like his season arc was kind of similar to Peyton's. Not great at taking care of the football to start the season, gets benched, and then once he gets his job back because the backup wasn't any better, he played better. Didn't turn the football over, I don't think, since he returned. He may not have thrown a touchdown pass, though, either during that split.
He played running back against Alabama. Let's be honest. He played running back against Alabama. And again, nobody is saying that Jackson Arnold can't be a good player. It's just
I don't think we're going to use him that way, though.
No, not in this system. Not like it just. If this is the guy, and again, nothing's official as we're talking right now, but if this is the guy, it's a big risk. It's like the guy who took out all his money and wanted to go do the one bet on roulette, and bet it on red, and he hit. I hope it hits, but it just, in this circumstance, it is a huge risk for Hugh Freeze to bring in a guy that got benched, unbenched. We've seen him, and stats are like trailers for movies. They tell you a little bit of what happened, but they don't tell you the whole thing. We watched the Oklahoma fan base disintegrate at the beginning of the year. And listen, Oklahoma's offensive line wasn't great, and every one of their wide receivers basically was a triage 10. It was like post Gettysburg in the wide receivers room when you looked at the report. So it wasn't just on him, but in this circumstance, in this situation for Auburn, you needed to hit a home run, not hit one in high enough in the air and hope the wind blows it out. And that's what it feels like.
Yeah. I thought we would be able to go out and get a quarterback where we didn't have to
just hope.
Well, and just kind of dance around it, right? It's like, well, if he has Cam Coleman, or man, he didn't have any receivers at his old place, or the scheme was bad. And all those things are true. All those things are true. I just thought they would be able to attract a proven guy, and that doesn't seem like it's going to happen. So, yeah, I don't know. If Jackson Arnold does come to Auburn, how many more wins can the Tigers add in 2025? The schedule's manageable. We discuss that in just a moment, right here on Locked On Auburn. Today's Locked On Auburn is brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get about $5 and get an extra $150 in bonus bets. Can't beat that. And obviously you can get ready to tackle whether it's the NFL action, the college football playoff action, whatever it may be that interests you the most over at FanDuel.com. When you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more, all on the same page where you place your bet, so you can be fully equipped with everything you need to know to get involved in the action. Get started with $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet hits. That's at FanDuel.com. Jake Crain of Crain & Company hanging out with us on this Friday edition of the show. Auburn's 2025 schedule, in my opinion, Jake, very manageable. And we talked all offseason this past year about, okay, Auburn's got a shot to make something happen because of the schedule. That's going to be a very similar talking point this offseason. You go to Baylor to start things off. 2 very manageable games before you head to Oklahoma and to Texas A&M. You have Georgia after a bye week. And then leading up to Alabama, before Alabama, you've got an open date and Mercer. And leading up to that in the middle part of the schedule, Missouri at home at Arkansas, Kentucky at home at Vandy. This should be a very manageable schedule. And I said on the show yesterday, Jake, this schedule, being the difficulty that it is, actually puts more pressure on Hugh Freeze in 2025.
Yeah, I mean, if that's even possible with what happened this year. Here's what I want to tell everybody.
Fair.
Looking at the schedules right now, you look at brands and then you look at where do you got to go on the road, right? Because we may not know the teams, but we know the environments. So in the era of the transfer portal, it's hard for me to sit here and say this schedule is going to be great for Auburn or tough for Auburn because I don't even know who's playing for Auburn. Okay. I don't know who's going to be the quarterback at half these places. And that's one of the problems with the way the calendar is now. We're not going to know. And even once we do know who's there, Florida State just went 2-10. Like you don't know yet. So I'm not going to get too high. I'm not going to get too low, but I do know the road games aren't as bad, right? Yeah. Because we don't got to go to Bama and to Georgia. So I'm more looking at environments because that's the only concrete thing that I can look at with the schedule and say, okay, going to play at this place is going to be really tough. I'm really glad we host these guys so we don't have to go play at this place. That's about where I'm at with it right now.
Yeah. Yeah, at Oklahoma, at Texas A&M, at Arkansas, at Vandy, and then obviously at Baylor.
Could be way worse.
Could be way worse. Agreed. If Auburn adds Jackson Arnold, I mean, does it make you feel better about any of these games? Like any of these toss-up games? Like, okay, like Auburn may have improved slightly at the quarterback position or maybe a ton. I guess that depends on your opinion of Arnold and Peyton Thorne.
Yeah, well, it goes back to what we were talking about. Like, it just makes it more unknown because I don't know. I can't sit here and say, all right, here's the common denominator with Jackson Arnold. So this is the position it puts Auburn in going to play this team. Mm-hmm. I don't know. To me, if Jackson Arnold is the guy, here's what I believe, Zach. I don't think there's any middle ground. Some people disagree with that. I think it could be either really good or really bad. That's what I think. Because to me, 6-6 is not middle ground. That's bad. Right. 7-5 it needs to be the right 7-5. 8-4, okay, like that. I don't hate that, but I mean,
But don't you think Auburn needs to do 7-5 or 8-4 before they do 9-3, 10-2, or do you think they can skip that?
Again, like the unknown can be bad. The unknown can also be good. Like, what if he does come in and he's an absolute dog?
That'd be awesome.
You look at that schedule and you're like, well, look at all these quarterbacks that are gone. Look at the turnover at Georgia now with the new quarterback. Look at the turnover at Alabama with a new quarterback. I mean, look at how good is the Arkansas team going to be with Taylon Green coming back? It's just the unknown only adds more fuel to the fire of the unknown. And I just firmly believe on the spectrum of Auburn next year, I think it's going to be on either end. I think it could be on either end, because if it starts out bad, all of a sudden it's going to get even worse, because we're going to know the head coach is getting fired. Like, so it's not like it's year 2 and you're like, all right, well, they're not going to fire him. But even if you start off bad, you can right the ship. It just fuels the unknown, man. I hate that. And I know the coaches hate that, but some of them are bringing this on. So I wish I could give you a definitive answer, but I can't.
Yeah. And I do think we'll kind of have a better picture of what expectations are in the next few weeks when the portal wraps up. We'll see. I mean, everything I've heard is like going into December has been how equipped and how ready Auburn is to attack the portal and get talent that they need. And it sounds like there's going to be a lot of folks that are, that are getting into town, whether it's today or the next few days. But I mean, it seems like Auburn's ready to add some dudes. It's just, how much of that are they going to be able to do if they don't add a quarterback first? I guess that's the
thing.
Question.
Like, is Jackson Arnold getting Singleton excited? Right? Heck, I'm more worried about our guys that we already got with Jackson Arnold. So and again, that didn't say he couldn't turn out to be a great player. He might, but it's, if you want stability, bring in stable, proven commodities if they are available. And I think there's a couple that are available. How much would it take to get Mateer? Just how much? How much would it take? How much would, with Mendoza? I think
Mateer still has questions around him.
I think he does, but not as many as Jackson Arnold does. I mean, I've watched the kid play, and he's a perfect fit for this offense. I think you could get Mendoza at like one of those, we're going out of business sale prices. Like it, I don't know, man. Like if this is gonna be the guy, then all right.
What's your opinion of Caden Salter?
Well, look, people say, oh, he had a bad year this past year, which he did. But if you watch Liberty, the pieces around him, he was trying to do everything. He was just trying to do too much. What I like is there's a very quick learning curve because he already knows the system, right? Even if some terminology has changed, he could be a very quick learner. He could probably end up teaching the minute he got here, and he would have better pieces around him, and he can create at a really high level, even in the SEC, I think. So I wouldn't have minded Caden Salter. Like, as opposed to Jackson Arnold, I'd take Caden Salter.
The big question is, folks not knowing Freeze's offense. It's like, well, get a guy who would know it. I'm high on Caden Salter. You're the only other person that I've talked to that's kind of agreed with me on Caden Salter being a fit. But
what is the argument against Caden Salter? Like that he'd be a bad fit? What's that? Because he had a bad year.
You said it. Yeah, his year last year. Yeah.
Like, just watch the games. Like, watch the Liberty teams. I think Jamie Chadwell would tell you the same thing, honestly, if he was being truthful. Mm-hmm. He's just trying to do too much. The dude was trying to be a hero because he had to be a hero. He had no Robin, right? It was just, well, I got to be Batman, and if somebody sneaks me in the corner, I'm dead.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. All right, what else does Auburn need to do in this transfer portal window? We tackle that next, right here on Locked On Auburn. Today's show brought to you by our friends at Game Time. Game Time's the best place to buy tickets. It doesn't matter what it's for. It could be for football, basketball, baseball, the concerts of your dreams, the theater, whatever it might be. You can take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. You can toggle on and off all-in pricing. So you can toggle the feature on to show you the total up front so you're not surprised with any fees. Or, hey, you can get a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy your tickets. So to once again, take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time Picks. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem with code LOCKEDONCollege. Download the app today. What time is it? It's game time. Jake Crain of Crain & Company hanging out with us. Eric Singleton Jr., the Georgia Tech star receiver. Sounds like that visit went well. He had to leave and head back to Atlanta, I guess, to take a final, is what was reported somewhere. There's speculation of him going to Ole Miss this weekend. Several folks are kind of reporting it without any specific dates from Oxford. Locked on Ole Miss put out a show saying, hey, he's kind of expected to be the guy and expected to sign with Ole Miss. Ole Miss is very confident with this kid. And I guess it's because they've handled the portal so well. And also you got to think like he kind of looks like Trey Harris to me. So to me, how concerned should Auburn be if he does go to Oxford?
Well, this is why having a bad offensive product on the field hurts. Like,
Sure.
Say what you want about Ole Miss, but they were lighting it up at receiver. I mean, look at the guys that are going to get drafted off that team at receiver. Not that Keandre Lambert-Smith didn't have a good year, and that's what I would be pumping if I was this Auburn coaching staff, and I'm sure they are. But, I mean, take your Auburn hat off. If you're a wide receiver and you've got 1 year and you want to put yourself in the best draft position possible, you going to go to Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin, or are you going to go to Auburn and Hugh Freeze and you don't even know who the quarterback's going to be? Now, I know that the Simmons kid, right, doesn't have a lot of run. He looked good when he came in against Georgia, so I guess you have that. Yeah. I don't know. If it's strictly a business decision, I'm worried for Auburn because the kid can ball. Like that. That's not the question. It's I don't know. You just got to take your Auburn hat off sometimes and say, listen, would you like to go work at Goldman Sachs or Edward Jones? I mean, I'll find me at Goldman Sachs, dog.
I didn't know enough about either company to fully know which one to pick.
I think I'm right. I may be wrong. I'm sure they'll tell me in the comments.
Let them know. Who would you rather have? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, the defensive line I think is going to be interesting too, because based on the names that have been kind of tied to Auburn and are expected to visit, over the next few days, I don't think they're going with like the star defensive lineman. I think they're just going to kind of get more bodies in there, which is kind of what we saw them do last year. For the most part, like the final product was fine, but they did miss on some dudes. Like they missed on Terrell Carter. They missed on Gage Key. So I do wonder how they're going to handle defensive line differently this time around than they did last time.
Yeah, well, I mean, you got to trust your evaluation process. Sometimes it's going to hit, sometimes it's going to miss. I mean, you got some young guys that can play, some guys coming back that can play. So you need to supplement them, not just with bodies, but quality bodies. They don't have to be first rounders, but they got to be good enough to come in and do a job and provide depth. And if somebody gets hurt, it's not a massive drop off to that next group because somebody's going to get hurt. It's football. It's on the line of scrimmage. So as many guys that can do multiple things you can get. And they don't they don't have to be elite superstars. You'd love to get all the elite superstars, but you're not going to get all of them. So bringing some guys in here that can add to the depth, that can rush the passer from the inside and the out, that can set an edge, that can hold up against the run, that can give you time for that, Faulk to get a breather or something like that. That's what you need because you're in a pretty good spot at that position group, I think.
Yeah, no breathers for Keldric Faulk this year. No,
dude, he's a baller, man.
Just give him as many snaps as possible.
Didn't miss on that one.
Incredible by him for sure. I expect it to be a busy weekend. Jake, how many portal guys commit/sign to Auburn this weekend? You think 2 is fair? You think it could be more?
I'd put the over under at 2.5, and I would take the over. I think it's going to be 3.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
Is
one of them a quarterback?
Say it again.
Is one of them a quarterback? I say yes.
Yes.
Is it Jackson Arnold?
Right now, yes.
It's what it seems like.
In my wildest dreams, no. Mendoza shows up. He just shows up late in the night, and
uninvited. And he said,
uninvited.
Hey.
Says, give me a scholarship. turns on the tape of the Cal game. Look what I did to you in front of your families and friends.
It's like, you know what? I'll come in and be the backup. That's fine. Don't sign the kid from Stanford.
99 yards with my boys.
Yeah. I'll beat him out in spring.
Yeah.
Let's go. It's like, hey,
give me that.
I want that guy.
Yeah.
I want that guy. No, I think it's Jackson Arnold too. So we will see. Let us know what your thoughts are in the comments down below, or join thebarnauburn.com. We'd love to have you there. Let us know your thoughts there as well. Jake Crain, how can people check out everything you've got going on?
Very easy. Crain & Company, YouTube, yes. CRAIN Company. Go check us out. Just had Rhett Lashley on this week, talking portal, talking Auburn as well. So come hang out with us.
Yep, absolutely. Hey, please like the video. Please subscribe. We'll see you next time. This has been Locked On Auburn.